So hey anime fans, the series name is What If Naruto Got Harem with My Little Ponytail. So let's start the series. And Aryuttttol, declared Sasuke. Sasuke blurted out Naruto. Naruto fell as they passed one another. When Sasuke stated, Naruto, get up, I'm not finished yet. Naruto? When Sasuke turned around, Naruto was grinning at him and tossing him the bird, but his heart and lungs were pierced. Naruto spoke the words, asshole, before coughing up blood and passing away. As he held Naruto's dying body, Sasuke exclaimed, Naruto! This wasn't supposed to happen! Someone help! Help me! When Kakashi ran and saw it, he yelled, Sasuke, how could you? And said, No, and oh. On Naruto, Sasuke continued to sob, saying, He was supposed to kill me! Me Kakashi, me! Later, FFF in Konoha FFF, Kakashi was queried by Tsunade. Where's Naruto? Kakashi, Tsunade said, growing anxious. Kakashi sadly replied, He's back there with Sasuke, before leaving. And he's the only casualty, he added. Tsunade said, What? Naruto, as she rushed to the person she loved. Naruto! She began to cry and snatched Naruto from Sasuke. When Naruto opened his eyes, he grinned his typical foxy smile. Naruto! Hold on, I can heal you. Just wait, Tsunade said, beginning to attempt to cure him. No, it's time for me to die. Shinigami-sama is allowing me to say goodbye to my loved ones before taking me away. Grab the girls, Tsuchan, Naruto said, with a, Okay. Tsunade fled. I'm so sorry, Naruto, Sasuke murmured. Don't be, just let me see the Mangekyo before I die. I jumped onto your Chidori so you could gain that power, remarked Naruto. Sasuke struggled to say, okay, before exclaiming, I can't do it, Naruto said. Oh well, look after the girls for me, dumbass. Naruto Kyuin was shouted by some of his girls. Yo, Naruto said in a gentlemanly manner. Don't blame yourselves, it will make me turn around in my grave, and if you don't find someone else just because I'm dead, then I will make sure I go to hell. Now goodbye, my loves, live long, fruitful lives and go make me proud, the females shouted Naruto, and, we love you, the afterlife, or FFF. So who are you? Inquired Naruto. I am Death, but you know me as Shinigami, said Shinigami. Now since you defied your fate, you have 3 options. 1. Be sent to heaven. 2. Become an angel. Or 3. Begin a new life with no memories of your past life other than how to work chakra and weapons work. By the way, the other 2 means you will cease to exist because Kami lost a bet about you, according to Naruto. Well, obviously 3. Off you go then. Shinigami tapped his head, and as the world erupted in agony, the last thing he saw was a tiny red light. FFF Cloudsdale, I'm not kidding, a voice said. Looks like he's coming too. Where am I? Replied Naruto. What am I? Who are you? How did I get here? Why are you cuddling my tail? The Cyan Pegasus asked. You mean you don't remember anything? All I remember is my name and something called chakra, stated Naruto. What's your name? Naruto, when Rainbow Dash said, I'm Rainbow Dash and the pony cuddling your tail is Fluttershy. Hello? Fluttershy murmured. Deja vu, hold on, what is that? Nice to meet you, Naruto thought. Well, you literally fell from the sky and into Spitfire's back. By the way, how high do you think you were? You had ice forming on your wingtips and your hooves, Rainbow said with delight. After giving it some thought, Naruto remarked. I don't remember what happened. All I remember is this red light all around me except for up, and that was pitch black. Wait, who's Spitfire? He asked. I'm Spitfire, and from what you're telling every pony here, you almost made it into space somewhere only one Pegasus has ever gone, stated Spitfire. Naruto shouted and grasped his head before collapsing, asking, Who? When Spitfire exclaimed, Some pony get a medic! She looked at the pony again and saw for the first time the faint scars he had all over his body. What are those from? She said aloud. What? Asked Rainbow. Spitfire remarked. Those scars on his, where'd he go? What do you mean, Holy Celestia? Rainbow replied. Flutters, where'd he go? Fluttershy remarked. I don't know, in fact I didn't notice him leave, a child's voice said. Make it go away, please, no more. When the girls approached the bed, they discovered Naruto sobbing silently partially beneath it. He jerked away from them and retreated more. Rainbow asked Spitfire, What's wrong with him? I've only seen that happen once before. It's what can happen to an orphan was beaten and close to being broken. It's post-traumatic stress disorder. Spitfire saddened. At least now we know where his scars come from. No, that's not what it is, Fluttershy replied. It's what happens to any pony who lost everything right in front of them then were hurt by a lot of ponies. It's a bit different in the fact that it's fear, not a mental problem, Rainbow questioned. If it's fear, then why did he get scared around us? Fluttershy stated. It's simple, whoever did this to him has a trait similar to one or all of us. Before letting go of her assured demeanor and saying, I think anyways, Rainbow regretfully remarked. So he's scared of us. As Spitfire put it. Or one of us. Hey, I just remembered everything, Naruto exclaimed, emerging from beneath the bed a few seconds later with a silly smile. Here are my papers, he gave to Spitfire before trotting joyfully out the front door. My mom said to go to Cloudsdale and join the flight academy. Spitfire questioned. Did he just walk out like nothing happened? Rainbow responded. Yup. And is it just me, or does that pony leave more questions about him than answers? Spitfire inquired. Nope, Fluttershy muttered. Spitfire stated. Let's return to the opening ceremony. Both girls said okay, simultaneously. After a few months, Naruto shouted. Fluttershy! As he dove to grab her before she hit the ground. Help! Fluttershy cried, certain that she would perish. Just before she hit the ground, she halted on a soft, fluffy object that crunched horribly when she struck it. Ow! Naruto said. When Fluttershy asked, Oh my gosh, are you okay? Naruto exclaimed with excitement. Yeah, but look on the bright side, I found my cutie mark. Fluttershy replied. You should be more concerned about your broken wing. With a troubled tone. Naruto screamed. I'm fine. Oh, www. What was that for? I barely tapped it. That shows you're not okay. Let me ask the animals if they can help. Fluttershy replied. After 3 minutes boom, chaos ensued as the animals all leaped and rushed around. According to Fluttershy. It's okay guys, it's alright. After all the animals have been calmed, Fluttershy remarked. Okay, let's find somewhere to sleep, Naruto. Naruto said. Flutters, you got a cutie mark. A rainbow pony that was familiar shouted. Guys, are you here? We're here, shouted Naruto. Rainbow exclaimed. I've finally found you all, Naruto said. Look, we have our cutie marks. Rainbow remarked. So do I. Mine means I have a need for speed, Fluttershy remarked. Mine means I like animals. No, it means kindness, Naruto remarked as if it were clear. Oh yeah, mine means that I'm a protector. His adorable mark featured a dragon-shaped sword and a shield with the yin-yang symbol with a black dragon and white fox intertwining to form it. Rainbow questioned. Whoa, are you sure that's what it means? Yeah, what else could it mean? Just look at how many times I've protected you too, Naruto replied. But I swear you girls are going to be the death of me, Rainbow questioned angrily. What's that supposed to mean? Remember when that pony who liked to hit the others rolled in like he was big and bad? Said Naruto. Yeah, Rainbow answered timidly. Or that time when I got beat up instead of you because I protected you from that one popular pony? Replied Naruto. Rainbow whispered softly. Yeah. Naruto laughed as he recalled the shocked looks on the faces of all the other ponies when he returned with the Tempest's unconscious body. Or that time when I had to literally fight tooth and hoof so you two could get out of that Tempest cave that you only went into because Twinkleheart said you would be cooler if you did it, he said. Rainbow responded, almost whispering. Yes. Naruto began. Or the time dash. We get it. I'm accident prone. And I got us all kicked out of flight school. What? Asked Naruto. Please don't hate me. Rainbow sobbed as she continued. I got us kicked out. Naruto asked gravely. How could I hate one of my precious people? Rainbow exclaimed with joy. Naruto. In addition to saying, besides, I already graduated 3 weeks ago. Naruto. What? Exclaimed Rainbow. Well, Spitfire said she had no more to teach me and recommended to the headmaster to let me take the early finals, Naruto stated. But the only people who can do that have tons of flight hours took a leadership role in a time of need are handpicked by the Wonderbolt's best of the year can fly for a day straight and go faster than 60 miles per hour the entire time. Rainbow continued. Not to mention you have to get at least 90% in all the subjects. Yup, I'm smart and awesome. In fact, I'm so smart that the best Wonderbolt of the year asked me to join and I said yes. They told me the only thing I had to do was wait till I was assigned somewhere. They told me yesterday that I'm going to be in the base in Ponyville. Years later, FFF. Maybe the ponies in this town have something interesting to say? Spike replied. Hello, huh? Said Twilight. Pinkie Pie let out a gasp and fled. As she left, Twilight remarked. At that moment, the first item on the list was catering. FFF at the Sweet Apple Acres. Twilight was making her way to a barn, a big building on the farm. As she entered the clearing, she noticed a horse with orange wings and fur, a blonde mane, and a gorgeously fluffy tail. The mysterious pony exclaimed, I'll see you tomorrow, Applejack! Will do, Naruto! Shouted Applejack. Granny Smith said, Wait, Naruto, you haven't tried any of the food! Applejack screamed. What in tarnation? Naruto, get back here! According to Twilight. What's going on? Naruto ran off before taste testing again, said Applejack. He comes over, does a bunch of chores, and then when we asked him to stay for dinner he disappears, and when he does a bunch of chores for the family reunion, even more than he usually does, which is about 20 times more than I do. Anyhow, when we asked him to help with taste testing to help us decide who's the best in cooking, he just nods like he agrees, but he always gets away before we can get him to taste anything. Twilight questioned. Why not just tie him up and give him the food? Applejack laughed, and then stopped and scowled, saying, We tried, but every time he just escapes or is able to roll away. However, He usually looked scared half-to death when we tied him up, then there was this haunted look he always wore when it happened right before he struggled," he remarked. Twilight inquired, "Where'd you find such a confusing pony?" Applejack smiled back and remarked, "Saving ma sister, like a boss as he likes to say." Twilight inquired, "How did he save her?" "Well, when I asked Apple Bloom, this is what she said." Flashback. 1 year prior to the present date, Apple Blossom's recollection. After searching the forest for her unique gift, Apple Bloom chose to try to survive there. Since the Everfree was the most dangerous place she could think of, she entered it. After 3 hours or so, she was still unable to identify anything dangerous about the forest. As soon as she finished saying, "I don't understand why everyone is so afraid of this place. I think it's just a typical forest," she heard rustling in the woods and yelled, "Sis, stop hiding, I'm ready to go home now." The bushes continued to rustle until a manticore and 6 wolves emerged and started assessing her. She took the most sensible course of action at that moment and ran as quickly as she could, only to realize that 3 more wolves had surrounded her in a circle. She then retreated and curled into a ball between them. The manticore approached and started sniffing her, and Apple Bloom could smell its breath. It was the most repulsive mixture of rotting meat and decomposing objects. It made her gag. After sniffing her for a few seconds, the manticore screamed and used its clawed paw to swipe her across her face. Apple Bloom spat blood and looked up in shock, and its paws struck her in the stomach. She twisted to her side and vomited when she struck a tree across the clearing. In less than a second, she heard the jaws bite into flesh with a tear, felt the blood rush from the wound in a spurt, and finally felt the very soft and soothing tail wrapped around her. The manticore was approaching her slowly when it pounced, its mouth wide. She closed her eyes and waited for the inevitable pain of being bitten by the monster, with a tear leaking from her eyes and a slam on the ground. A white tail? When she opened her eyes, she saw a blonde, orange pony standing in front of her, guarding her. What was stunning was that the manticore was biting his neck and appeared to be still as it attempted to whip him back and forth. The pony asked, "Hey, you okay?" The pony chuckled and remarked, "Just like Dash," as Apple Bloom tucked herself under the tail and shook her head no. He then stood up and looked about, observing the blood and vomit, his eyes narrowing. The wolves then ran at him, trying to nick him here and there to bring him down. Naruto said, "It's okay, I'll save you from these beasts." And then he leaped up, the manticore still attached. He flipped and flipped the beast to the ground, then kicked it with a corkscrew into its chest, instantly killing it because it had a punctured heart from a broken rib. Attempted the key word, he stomped on the wolf's head first, and as he was about to attack, one of the more bloodthirsty wolves charged at him from a blind spot. Naruto heard it and leaped high into the air, then used a branch to strike the wolf, slamming it in the back and causing a lot of blood to flow. The other 7 wolves charged him from all directions, tearing his coat to pieces and even ripping out his throat, but they could only bite him on the backs of his legs and his back. After giving the nearest wolf an uppercut, Naruto planted his feet and bucked another. He then backflipped onto one's back and struck it over the head before speeding up to become a mere blur, and knocking the remaining 4 back and into trees with enough force to put them out. Naruto remarked, "Now let's get you home." And after picking her up and wrapping his tail around her, he started to leave the jungle and enter Ponyville. "Where do you live?" he then inquired. Apple Bloom eventually said, "I live in Sweet Apple Acres." And 2 minutes later she was dozing off in his tail. Why dream why apple blossoms? When she heard the question, Is she going to be all right? She was standing next to a stunning waterfall that was covered in clouds. Looking around, Apple Bloom noticed 3 creatures in a shaded spot. Yup, she just... a figure murmured. According to the first speaker. So you're the one who... When Apple Bloom eventually arrived at the 3 figures, she spotted a red dog, an orange dog, and a blonde fox. The red dog let out a "eye up." The fox, gazing into her soul with its blue eyes, murmured, "Hey Apple Bloom, it's time to wake up." Real world why? So why did you go out there? Inquired Applejack. Well, I just was sick of being made fun of by Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon, so I went to find my cutie mark and decided to check to see if maybe it was surviving. Apple Bloom said, observing her sister snuggling even more into Naruto's tail and looking visibly irate. Naruto inquired, "You were teased for not having a cutie mark?" A shy eye-up was said by Apple Bloom. Naruto asked, "Well, when do you next go to school?" Apple Bloom muttered the words, "tomorrow," with some confusion. Naruto remarked, "Then I'm going with you." Flashback and FFFFFF. "Wow, he sounds really great," replied Spike. Twilight inquired, "What happened the next day?" Apple Bloom inquired, "Sis, can you tell what happened?" Applejack remarked, "Sure, Sugar Cube." "Well, when I went to school the next day." FFF Flashback FFF. The teacher commanded the students to sit down, class, as everyone became silent and turned to face the front. Apple Bloom yelled, "You!" as soon as she recognized the person. "Yup, me," Naruto laughed and replied. "Mrs. Cheerly is out today because she needed a day off, so I will be your substitute teacher for the day," Diamond Tiara said. "What's your name? Are you not capable of reading, little one? If so, I can give you some lessons," Naruto replied gently. "Well, little miss, my name is right here. It says Naruto. This is an N, this is an A, that's AR, that's an U, that's AT, and that's an O. Do you think you can read that, little one?" In a tone that seemed insulting, Diamond Tiara stated, "Yes, I can read. I just didn't see that because you were in front of the words," the last pony said. "Well, if that's the case, let's take roll. Diamond Tiara here, Silver Spoon here, Apple Bloom here. Gonna skip ahead to the final fillies I actually care about. Sweetie Belle here, Scootaloo here." Naruto narrowed his eyes and stared at her, knowing those eyes, the eyes of the innocent, mixed perfectly with the eyes of scorned. Diamond Tiara remarked, "Ha ha ha, even the newest teacher hates the orphan." "Yeah, it's apparent that he hates you," Silver Spoon replied. "After all, no pony likes a no-name loser orphan like you." When Naruto stated that, Scootaloo's smile grew extremely strained, but everyone else believed it was the same. "Diamond Tiara, Silver Spoon, let's go outside," Naruto said. Both of them smirked as they answered, "Okay." When the kids looked out, they noticed something strange. Naruto was yelling at the 2 fillies. Naruto then tapped their foreheads with the tips of his wings and said, "You have no clue how it feels to be alone, you fool. You think you do. Let me show you the feelings of one day with no pony to comfort you." The 2 fillies began to sob on the ground and gave each other tight embraces. "Now go back to class and be silent for the rest of the day," said Naruto. Flashback and FFFFFF. According to Apple Bloom. "And they never messed with any pony ever again," Twilight exclaimed. "Wow, that's incredible." Traveling to Ponyville FFF. As she ran into dusk, Rainbow screamed, "Watch out! I'm sorry," Twilight remarked, a little irritated. "It could have been worse. But it's fine." Sorry about her, miss. She was doing a trick and it went haywire and then she crashed into you," stated Naruto. Rainbow said, "I'll help clean you up." And then she generated a miniature tornado that blew her dry. With the exception of the fact that it was only slightly curled and resembled Fluttershy's hair more, Naruto said, "Let me help you with that," took out a hairbrush, and shaped her hair into a Rarity-style do. "There you go." Twilight, still a little lightheaded after the two's antics, muttered, "Don't you need to clear the sky?" before collapsing into the ground. Naruto remarked, "We already did." "Well, that checks another thing off," Twilight said, looking around for the list and seeing a torn-up piece of paper on the ground. She stepped over to it and began to cry. "No, my list and plans were on there," she said as she sobbed, feeling something soft and fluffy and automatically beginning to cuddle into it. After a short while, she stopped sobbing and turned to see that it was attached to the strange stallion. "What?" she asked, then pressed herself closer to it. Rainbow laughed and remarked, "This occurs every single time some pony feels your tail. They instantly cuddle it and slowly calm down. I can't help that it is a natural reflex to it when it basically exudes happiness, calm, peace, and harmony," Naruto replied. "If I remember correctly, this is how I cheered you up the time when you were getting over that one stallion when he openly rejected you and also put you into a depression." After blushing, Rainbow shot as high into the sky as she could. As Twilight asked, "What was that about?" "Rainbow likes to think she's 100 feet tall and that she can destroy mountains by tapping them," Naruto stated simply. "Isn't it bad to talk down on your friends?" Twilight questioned, laughing. "It's true, and as my friend Applejack always says, it's best to be honest because it helps in the long run. But I also listen to my friend Fluttershy and am kind in my teasing, as such Rainbow knows that I'm just teasing her by bringing up her more stupid moments, and like any good friend we share the laughs. Sometimes even Pinky joins the party, making it so we have even more fun since she brings laughs to the party. I need to get Rainbow a present though, cause my friend Rarity taught me to be generous to everyone," Naruto stated. Twilight questioned, "Why would you do all that?" "Cause like Rainbow, I'm loyal to my friends, and Rainbow happens to be one of my oldest friends," remarked Naruto. Inquiring, "How did you meet her?" Twilight, "I crashed into Spitfire and went unconscious. She Spitfire and Fluttershy helped me back to my feet," stated Naruto. "You're Naruto!" cried Twilight. "You're famous for being the most mysterious Wonderbolt." "Yup," Naruto grinned and answered. Twilight nodded to her and went on. "I just have one question. Why were you up so high in the sky?" he asked. After a moment of straining his smile, Naruto scowled. "Because of something that happened at my home." When Twilight realized he was gone, she exclaimed, Where'd he go?" "Well, at least I remember the final two things," she added. FFF at the FFF of Rarity. Twilight was immediately questioned about where she had her hair done as soon as she walked inside the Carousel Boutique building. "Well, I was tackled down by a rainbow Pegasus into mud, then was washed dried, and my hair was brushed by the legendary Naruto Uzumaki," remarked Twilight. Rarity questioned, "Makes sense, so anyways, why are you here?" "I was sent by Celestia to check on preparations for the festival." "Okay, so first off." FFF at the FFF of Fluttershy, Naruto said. "And then she asked me why I was up so high." "No," Fluttershy said. "Did she really?" After saying, "Yeah, and she is probably coming here for the music," Naruto turned to face Twilight and exclaimed, "Speak of the devil," before taking off. Naruto doesn't like talking about his past, even Dash, And I only know that he didn't like his childhood, Fluttershy said, gazing at Twilight with a dejected expression. What? But he said you two were his closest friends, Twilight responded. Doesn't that mean he would tell you two everything about himself? No, it doesn't. It's not secrets so much as it is keeping his more saddening years from making us pity him. He hates pity and his past, so we never ask him about it. The one thing all of Ponyville knows for a fact is that if you ask about his past you will get a cold shoulder from him. No pony wants to know what happened because when he thinks about his past then he instantly becomes worse than Pinkie when she's depressed. Fluttershy replied. Twilight questioned. Why does no pony ask him about it? Because he is arguably the kindest, funniest, most generous, loyal, honest, selfless stallion. No pony in all of Ponyville, stated Fluttershy. Twilight remarked. You seem to have a crush on him. I love him, every single bit of him, Fluttershy stated candidly. Twilight, oh really, remarked. I know a few Maras that have a crush on him, and he has a fan club that consists of almost every mare in Ponyville, Fluttershy said. I am not one of them. I've seen him at the school playing with the blank flanks as they're called. He always is cheering them up and makes them feel special as well as tell amazing stories that if I wasn't there for it I would never believe them. Twilight was now really intrigued. Yes, Fluttershy replied with a glazed expression. He's always there for every pony like an older brother. He helps everyone in ponyly ways. He bucked all of Applejack's trees. He styles hair for Rarity so she doesn't have to do as much. He always helps Rainbow with her tricks. He helped pay for Scootaloo to get her scooter. He helps calm every one of the animals in the forest. And he assists Cheerily when she is teaching sometimes. He made a surprise party for Pinkie Pie. And he helped Sweetie Belle pay for her music lessons. He bought Octavia a new violin and even taught her a few songs. He bought Vinyl Scratch her glasses and headphones. He bought the Vinyl Scratch's glasses and headphones, said Twilight. Vinyl is never seen without either of them. Yup, he does a whole lot of stuff, and no pony knows how he has the money for the stuff he buys. All of his friends get something nice for their birthday as well as for every holiday, Fluttershy replied. Wow, he sounds like the perfect guy, Twilight commented. Not to mention the mystery behind him, like where did he get those scars and why doesn't he flap when he hovers in the air? He doesn't have unicorn magic so he can't use telepathy, when she stated. It's my fault. Fluttershy began to cry. Twilight questioned. How? I broke his wing one time and he couldn't fly for a week. The doctor said it was a miracle, but I know why he was able to heal so fast. He used his weather magic to keep himself afloat so he could fly, and he didn't sleep at all as well as channel his magic throughout his body. He technically shouldn't have left for another 2 weeks and stay off the wing for 3 months, but did it in half the time, replied Fluttershy. Twilight questioned. But how was it your fault? Well, FFF flashback FFF. Come on, Rocky Shy, can't you even keep yourself up? No wonder you're stuck with the slowest pony ever. The pony screamed. Naruto isn't slow, he just likes to make me feel better about myself, stated Fluttershy. Oh really? Said the pony. Fluttershy remarked. He could beat you any day. The pony answered slyly. Well, if that's true, then he should have no trouble speeding to catch you. Nervously, Fluttershy questioned. What do you mean? Oh well, just that since you say he's faster than me, surely he could catch you if you say fell off the side of the cloud, Fluttershy cried out. Help! As the ponies began to approach her gently and crowd her to the edge of the cloud. One of the male ponies made the comment, Shit, push her over already. One muttered okay, and shoved her away. Fluttershy cried out as loudly as she could. Help me, Naruto! FFF implies while FFF, the headmaster exclaimed. Go! Rainbow Dash, Naruto, and a few others leaped from the front line and raced through the air. Naruto was obviously keeping by Rainbow's side and was flying rearward on his back with total relaxation. Naruto heard someone shout, "Help me, Naruto!" His eyes widened as he recognized the person. The ponies watching Fluttershy bravely tried to fly back up or at least slow down so she wouldn't die from impact, but they realized what they had done as soon as they saw that she was falling directly at a very rocky ground that was undoubtedly hard enough to make a flutter cake out of her. As they watched, they could only stare in horror at what they had done. Naruto immediately took off away from the finish line and flew as fast as he could to the source of the sound. They witnessed an orange pelt suddenly fly by them at a speed that was rapidly surpassing the speed of sound. It continued to accelerate until it was too fast to see any more. Naruto shouted, "Fluttershy!" as he dove to grab her before she hit the ground. "Help!" Fluttershy cried, certain that she would perish. "I will never let my precious people get hurt," he said, swerving in his descent to catch Fluttershy and positioning it so he would be the one to touch the earth. Then, while his flank lit, Naruto yelled, "I will protect those close to me no matter what," as he prepared to bear the pain through his back while holding her with his wings. Flashback and FFFFFF, Twilight said aloud. "Wow, he's like a knight in shining armor." "Yeah, I know, me and Rainbow were always getting trouble and Naruto always sacrificed himself to make it so we get away with it," Fluttershy timidly replied. "He even saved us from a tempest. Gasp, that's not possible. You have to travel as fast as sound, then be able to hurt it, then continue that pace and dispel the front two clouds, the biggest, most durable clouds in its body. And after that you have 2 seconds to strike its corporeal body before its entire cloud structure returns." Twilight gasped. "The only pony to ever do that in recorded history was Princess Celestia." "What?" cried the Fluttershy. "That's amazing!" Twilight remarked. "I know, and impossible. No, I saw him literally drag it back to Cloudsdale," Fluttershy replied. "Anyways, you're probably here to check the music, so here, let me show you my contribution. Everyone, can you please do the song we practiced?" Later that day, FFF in the library. FFF. "Well, Spike, I guess that they really did do dash. Surprise!" shouted the locals. "Hi, my name is Pinkie Pie. Do you remember me? 'Cause I remember you. Remember this morning when first came here you were like, hi. And I was long exaggerated gasp, then I ran away 'cause ik no ever I pony bit of ever seen you and asterisk gasp for breath asterisk." Pinkie replied. Naruto remarked, "I think that's enough." Pinkie said okay, and hoped to go. Naruto inquired, "So enjoying the party, Miss Sparkle?" Twilight remarked, "I'm really not much of a partier." "Well, if you don't party you'll upset Pinkie, trust me when I say you do not want to do that," Naruto replied. Twilight remarked, "Well, I'll just go to bed then." "No, that is not how it works. You stay up all night partying, then go to the Summer Sun Festival," Naruto said. "That is how you can make it up to me for asking for personal information from some pony who doesn't like their past." With an evil sneer, "All right," Twilight responded. "But since I'm new and know nothing about no pony, you have to introduce me to everyone." Naruto uttered the words, "As you wish, milady," in a disagreeable tone. "Oh my," said Rarity. "It's you." "Yes, it's me," Naruto uttered. "Pinkie put something she calls wasabi as frosting on one of the cupcakes," Naruto yelled. "Oh yeah! Put me towards it!" "Over there," Rarity pointed in an arbitrary direction. Naruto responded, Let's go, Miss Sparkle, and pulled her away. FFF at the town hall the following day. FFF, Mayor said, and without further ado I present Celestia. Mayor requested, Princess Celestia? Nightmare Moon stated, your princess is no longer here. Rainbow screamed and rushed her, asking, what did you do with our princess? Nightmare Moon asked, what, am I not regal enough for you? As he stared at Nightmare Moon, Naruto began to lose consciousness. He gradually began to realize that she was actually two ponies together, both of their wants being fulfilled. Naruto was startled back to reality when he heard Nightmare Moon say, and the eternal night will go forever. Twilight shouted, come on, we have to go take her down. With an Applejack in his tail, a Pinky under one arm, and Rarity in the other, Naruto said, okay girls, let's go. He was picking up the ponies that were unable to fly. Rabbo, pick up Twilight. I don't have enough space to pick them all up, he said. Rainbow said the words. You got it. Before they all took off together. FFF in the midst of the evergreen forest at the castle. FFF. I will always be stronger than you, whispered the Nightmare Moon. Maybe not alone, but with the elements of harmony we will take you down, Twilight said. Join the herd, resistance is futile. The main six slumped to the ground asleep after a rainbow flew off it and struck the Nightmare Moon, forming a dust cloud. Nightmare Moon remarked, ha ha, you thought you could beat me. Fools, I am immortal and all-powerful. Then Nightmare Moon approached them and stomped on them, saying, you can't defeat me. After being physically ejected from the castle, Naruto exploded through the door. He became enraged upon seeing the battered and bleeding girls on the ground. In a whisper, what did you do? He questioned. Nightmare Moon stated as though it were easy. Why, I killed them after they failed to beat me. You what? Asked Naruto. I finished them off here, let me show you. Nightmare Moon knew that losing his buddies would be his darkest dread, so she created the appearance that she had severed the rainbow pony's head and was lifting it. Following this, Naruto's hair cast a shadow over his eyes, and he began to shake before power appeared to emanate from him. However, this power wasn't the same as it had been before. Rather, it was angry, chaotic, and utterly insane. You think that much magic can save you and avenge your friends? How weakful your friends will have died in vain, said Naruto as his light red coat enlarged and four tails appeared out of the cloak at once. FFF Mindscape of Naruto. FFF. Naruto, finally you come back and say hello. You have gained a lot of respect from me in the past, so if you can say my name you can use my yokai to avenge your friends. This bitch needs to be put down for hurting our friends, Kurama stated. FFF in the real world. FFF. Naruto yelled Kurama in a demonic voice, and the cloak then became smooth. When his abilities reached six tails, he turned to face the Nightmare Moon and spoke in a hollow, demonic voice. Then, with a rage that no pony had not witnessed since Discord went crazy, Naruto yelled, you are going to die when I rip out your spine. No pony messes with my friends and gets away with it. FFF on the sun. FFF. Some pony is about to die, Celestia thought as she trembled. FFF with Naruto. FFF. If that happens I can heal you, but I want you to know that if we continue with this, you will be turned into a kitsune or demon fox. You will still be able to turn into your pony self, but you will be a demon fox, Kurama told Naruto, adding that, kid, with the way things are going, since this body isn't as used to my power, all your skin will burn off. Really, Kurama? Naruto inquired. Yes, now, Kurama said. Finish her. Naruto screamed. Get ready to die. before charging a Bijadama and shooting it at her. Nightmare Moon wondered, where does this power come from? Before, he could barely do anything, but now he is at least 3 times as strong as me. She jumped up to avoid it, but she was shocked when another cloud emerged from the extended chakra claw and pierced her leg. She gasped in agony before spinning around to see 6 clouds of various colors. One was pink, one was yellow and pink, one was rainbow-colored, one was white and purple, one was orange and yellow, and finally one was purple and pink. Naruto used his chakra claw to make a slicing motion at Nightmare Moon. The fact that there were 6 tempests, like the cloud beasts that required the strength of most of her sisters to vanquish one, was the most startling aspect of all. What the heck? Exclaimed Nightmare Moon. When she tried to flee, one of the chakra claws grabbed her. You will, Naruto uttered. What I will what? Cried the Nightmare Moon. You are a facade given life through magic that took over when your real self grew too jealous, Naruto stated. The pain I see in your eyes tells me that there is a way to get rid of you as well as not kill you, Nightmare Moon exclaimed. What are you talking about? It's simple in how to do this, now let's begin, Nightmare Moon exclaimed, beginning to feel frightened. Begin what? Naruto began. Accipirati dolor, ira, at Nvidia mi recipio. By this point, Nightmare Moon had begun to realize that. No, you can't that. Despite her hatred of the day and her sister, she still has affection for her slaves and subordinates. By this point, Naruto was glowing. Etiad quid centiam siri tibi affair, he said with a yell. Ad interiorem pacem tibi auxilium I sacrificium meum, and taped the head of the Nightmare Moon. And oh! He approached the Nightmare Moon as it passed out, and a light bulb burst from her. Wait, do you sense your friend's vitality? Kurama remarked. Naruto repeated the words in front of the main 6 after saying, Yeah, I do, I need to heal them too. He then used weather magic to condense the words into a single, enormous ball of suffering and negative feelings. Celestia yelled, Wait! As she smashed through a wall, only to be knocked out cold after being tapped on the head. Naruto gazed at the ball and started to compress it into the size of a pill before swallowing it. And that's every pony in the immediate vicinity, now to finish this ritual, he said. His response was immediate. He grunted and attempted to get to his feet before collapsing to the ground and gushing blood from every pore in his body. Tried to be the keyword in this instance. He crept cautiously to a partially collapsed wall and exhaled a stream of energy, followed by another and another until the energy surrounded him. Eventually, he started to transform, yelling all the while. His canines sharpened, his muzzle lengthened, and he became smaller. After changing into his Pegasus form and ceasing to yell, he plunged backwards into the wall that had crumbled, creating a 13-story drop. White wings were the last thing he saw before passing out. After a week, Naruto heard someone shouting as he was about to wake up, and he chose to listen in after hearing a sigh. Nal, Tim, Rainb. Just too late. He had finished the incantation right before I came in, and when I went to stop him he used it on me, said Celestia. I came to as he fell out of the wall and barely caught him in time. He was a foot off the ground, she said. The only pony to ever do that for any pony was the element of sacrifice, who immediately turned insane due to not finishing the ritual. We gained our pain back, only it was tenfold. It killed 2 of my friends and turned the other 2 insane also. We had to seal him away after it happened. What was his name? Inquired Rainbow. Discord, Celestia uttered sorrowfully. Discord was the last element of sacrifice, said Naruto. What? The two Maras leaped into the air and gave him a fierce look. How long have you been up? Celestia inquired bewilderedly. Thank you, by the way, Naruto added with a sly smile. Long enough to hear who my savior is. Celestia reddened slightly. And while I like the feel, could you both please let go of my tail? Naruto replied. When Celestia realized she was actually holding his tail, she began to stutter. Rainbow gave her a sly smile before realizing what he had said and stuttering as well. When they heard a crash and saw a yellow blur, Naruto began to struggle and his heart rate increased, as indicated by the heart monitor, while the yellow mare steadily strangled him. Fluttershy cried as she exclaimed, Naruto! I thought you were going to die, and when I thought about that it made me want to. Naruto grew concerned about his pal and said, Whoa, Flutters, are you sure you're okay? Instead, I'm fine, but you should be dead, Fluttershy said as she abruptly became aware of her location. Celestia inquired, How do you know about Discord? I love mythology, and your origins clearly would be from myths, so I decided to read up on you, remarked Naruto. Celestia ebbed. And you learned? I learned the origins of the universe. First there was Chaos the Void, who encompassed the entire universe, then there was Erebus the Darkness, and then there was Ether the Light. Finally Mother Nature was created in the space between. Darkness and Light had two children who were Nyx the Night and Hemrin the Day. The two had 7 children, the original elements of harmony. They were Chrysalis, who was honesty, Sombra, who was laughter, Starswirl the Bearded, who was magic, Thanatos, who was kindness, Celestia, who was generosity, Luna, who was loyalty, and finally Desmond, who was sacrifice. Naruto said to Celestia. Desmond would always protect his friends, and after a battle with Typhon the Storm he used the spell I used to heal them, but it backfired and drove him insane. You know what happened after that, but what you don't know is that after he went insane he transformed into Discord. Rainbow grinned and remarked, Whoa, that's the coolest pony I've ever seen. It's an egghead. Naruto grinned and said, Like a girly girl, in response to the statement. And the fastest pony I know can't stop touching my tail. When Rainbow saw that she was actually embracing his tail once more, she spluttered. However, she stopped when she noticed that Fluttershy was also holding a foxtail from Naruto. Rainbow Tails said, What? Inquired Naruto. The 3 Maras pointed to one of the tails and yelled, Tails! Oh yeah, Naruto replied. Well, apparently now I'm not only a fox pony, I'm an asterism beast, as I have turned into my spirit animal. This is my original form, so I will stay like this with small things changing to be like it. Since I'm now partially a demon fox, I can gain up to 9 tails, and I have fox ears and real whiskers. You have what now? Asked Celestia. Fox ears, deadpan Naruto. As the girls peered at the ears, Fluttershy exclaimed, Kawaii! And scratched behind his ear, causing Naruto to purr as he drew very close to her. The other 2 Maras in the room yelled, Kawaii! And started to pet him like a cat. Twilight yelled, Princess Seals, what is going on? Before Celestia used magic to pull Twilight up and fling her at Naruto's tails, the 3 Maras abruptly froze and turned towards Twilight. They then resumed caressing Naruto, who started to try to crawl away when Twilight diverted them. Twilight exclaimed, Tails! Rainbow petted Naruto and said, We know, just go with it. After giving Naruto a close inspection, Twilight started petting his tail, saying, So soft. Although Naruto was thrilled to be petted, he was also extremely alarmed that he was immobile during the affectionate treatment. Out of nowhere, Pinky said. So soft. Naru has some soft tails, right, Twilight? Twilight uttered. As she started to nestle into the tails, gradually sinking farther and deeper until she was only a head in the tails. Ow! Something bit me! She exclaimed. A muffled voice spoke out from Naruto's tail. Get your own fluffy cloud tail! Luna exclaimed. This one is mine! As she appeared just beside Twilight. How could you fit in there? It defies the laws of physics. It's only as long as a regular tail and is 2 feet wide at its widest. Twilight yelled. Luna inquired. Are you complaining? But no! How deep is this place? Maybe we could build a house and live in the fluffiness, said Twilight. Luna yelled. Let's see, and dove in, followed by Twilight. The timid Flutter asked. Did they just? Yup, loudly said Pinkie Pie. Oh, I know why Naruto's tail is like that. It's because his tail is magical and is as big as space itself. That means never ending. It's simple how it's like that. It's 'cause he's like an Ursa Major, and is a constellation beast. Celestia. Why do you say that? Without blinking, Pinkie answered. I dunno. Hey, where'd Naruto go? When Rainbow noticed Naruto was gone, she exclaimed. What, he's right here. Where'd he go? They heard Kawaii coming from outside. Celestia exclaimed. Well, that resolves that. Let's get the Fluffy. When they heard. What was that? Asked Rainbow. My tail was frizzing out, so someone must have fell down, and the scream sounded like my friend Ditzy. The Pinky added. Let's go get Naruto, before Ditzy finds out about the fluffiness. With a scream of, all right, the four Maras, FFF a short while ago with Naruto FFF, Naruto thought. I'm finally free of those crazy girls. Apart from the ones in your tail, Kurama pondered. The dejected Naruto groaned. Yeah, I can feel them whittling around in it. Hearing, Naruto, on his back, he felt something pony all of a sudden. According to the pony's Aokis, Naruto inquired, Are you okay? Naruto, it's you. I thought you were in the hospital, remarked Ditzy. The statement, I was but I just woke up, Ditzy, was made by Naruto. Ditzy struck him in the head, saying, Well, I was just on my way home, so I need to apologize for hitting you. And what did I tell you about calling Ditzy? Not to, and to call you derpy like every pony else, said Naruto. Then off we go, Ditzy exclaimed. FFF at Ditzy's FFF. When Naruto arrived at Ditzy's residence, he took out a bundle of food and some tea. Ditzy said, I'll go make some tea. Naruto remarked, I already made some. Ditzy pouted and remarked, Humph, you never let me do anything anymore, Naruto remarked. Well, you never come to my house anymore, so I'd bring food and tea to your house. Adding that she truly doesn't have enough money because she has to spend so much on her younger sisters. Kid, make sure to give her as much money as you can when you get paid, Kurama added. Naruto reasoned. I need to somehow trick her into taking it, because she will refuse it, so I'd have to give it to her sisters. Kurama added. Tell her she won the lottery. But, wait, they don't have that here. Naruto pondered. Perhaps I could claim it was a reward she earned and then give it to her on a monthly basis, like an allowance. The words, Hey Derpy, were spoken by Naruto. Yeah, Derpy said. I have some extra money, so I was wondering if you and your sisters would like to go a movie with me, Naruto replied. Derpy. Sure, but I can pay for us, he added. No, since I invited you to the movies, then I pay for it, snacks included. Besides, I need to get rid of some money anyways, Naruto replied. Big bro Naruto! Exclaimed Dinky Doo. Naruto yelled back. Dinky! How's it going? Pretty dang good, by the way. Dinny is out babysitting again, stated Dinky. Naruto inquired. So what movie do you guys want to see? Super Stallion, both of them said. With excitement, Dinky exclaimed. My friend Jack Lawton said that it was awesome. At that moment, 2 horses suddenly appeared. Luna said, and we still didn't reach the bottom. Yeah, I was so deep in the fluffiness it was almost like we were in a tropical jungle, stated Twilight. Derpy inquired, Where'd you two come from? Luna began rubbing Naruto behind the ears after saying, We came from the fluffiness, and he immediately leaned in and purred. The Derpy began, What the dash? Once she started to scream, Twilight used magic to pick up Derpy. She then threw Derpy in Naruto's tails and did it again with Dinky. Twilight said the words, No witnesses, before curling up in Naruto's tails and falling asleep.